You're listening to truthconduit.com with Chris McMillan.
Thanks so much for letting me share, and I will yield the floor to Chris McMillan. Oye, Cristobal.
Hola, Pam.
Chris McMillan.
Check. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, and I can see your video when you talk. This is getting better by the moment now.
Check it out. I'm wearing my Autonomy shirt tonight. See?
Is that a season 1 t-shirt?
I didn't know there was a season 2 t-shirt out yet.
I thought maybe you're in the loop because Joshua just he made a season 2 store and did new designs, and that'll be in Discord someplace.
I just saw Tony's. Yeah, Tony's got the triangle on his. See there? I'm always a bit behind.
Yeah, I can see him. I can see him up there. And then Chris McMillan, I see Tragedy and Hope on your shelf.
Tragedy and Hope. What else have I got back there? The Creature from Jekyll Island. Those are the two. Would you say those are the two most important books revolving around, if you could choose any two books that would summarize the Tragedy and Hope community? What do you think? Those two books, I would say. That would be my two.
Yeah, because if not, then I have to bring in Sutton, and he writes his books in triplicate. So.
I got a couple of his books back there. Yeah, the one about Wall Street and the one about the Skull and Bones. Why is freedom important? Well, when I read that question, I said to myself, well, anything other than freedom would be insane. It doesn't make sense. What else is there other than freedom? You know, slavery and violence, and that sucks. So freedom to me is just being in the opposite state of slavery and violence. And knowledge leads to freedom, you know, knowledge and the application of it. I just wanted to take a few notes of before and after. Before autonomy, I didn't know how to channel my energy. I didn't know what to do with myself. I had been following the Peace Revolution podcast for, I don't know, many years, from 2010, more or less, 2009, maybe even a bit before that. And I had all this knowledge, all these notes, everything, but it wasn't, you know, I wasn't putting it all together. Basically, the autonomy course has helped me organize myself. The brain model, learning about the brain model, I had seen it before, of course, but the autonomy course pushed me to actually get it, start using it, and that has helped my research process. Able to take a lecture or a book and start connecting the dots. That's helped me out a lot. Before autonomy, I would panic. I would jump straight to the rhetoric part of a situation, or straight to the grammar. Sorry, not straight to the logic, and I would skip the grammar. So it's taught me to slow down, calm down, take a deep breath, make sure all of the grammar pieces are in place before moving on. And I'm applying it more than ever right now because, as you know, I'm trying to learn to do a bit of video editing. Just before this afternoon, I'm working on editing a previous interview that I'd done with a guy named Simon Crims. And again, I immediately came to so many blocks right in the beginning, and I got frustrated because it didn't go the way I went. So the old me would have said, fuck it, you know, and just turned the computer off and gone and done something else. But, you know, after autonomy, you know, just, you know, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to meet these obstacles and treat them as something positive, as a learning experience. That's something that I've taken away from autonomy that I value very much. So I've learned to calm down and ask the right questions and wait until they're all answered before moving on to the next step, and not to get frustrated. Like I said, I found it hard to apply the methods of getting things done. I had read David Allen's book back when I was following the series, you know, I think I watched the interview when you first interviewed him. When was that? 2012, 13? When you started doing the History So It Doesn't Repeat series?
Yes, 2013, I think, because that was after I did What You've Been Missing.
Well, I think I went out and got the book right away, and read it, but it didn't really sink in. You know, again, got shelved in the back of my mind, not being applied. You know, the rhetoric part of the process wasn't being applied. What good is it if you can't do it? If you don't, you know it, what good is it if you can't share the knowledge, or you can't take action? So anyway, autonomy, again, put that fire to my butt. I've got his process up here on the wall, and I apply it. I've got little index cards, in these stacks. I should put them in some containers, going through, getting things done. And this is very important. I've learned, I didn't even know the meaning of the term learned helplessness or the scarcity mentality until autonomy. And now when I'm experiencing them, it helps me to recognize them and basically not be a victim of them, to get, to move on, move forward. I'm having a tough moment, and I'll say, look, oh my goodness, this is learned helplessness. This is what was pounded into me when I was in public schooling and college. There's that scarcity mentality. So I'm doing much better to recognize it. And when I recognize it, it's easier to not let it get you down. So autonomy, I feel like I'm just getting started, to be honest. It's been a while since season 1 has actually finished. I'm still processing all the information that we've got, and I have it. That's the beauty of autonomy. It's there. So, okay, it's time to focus on marketing. I still have not gotten to copywriting, a skill that's on my, right now. I feel like when I get to a certain stage of video editing, then I'm going to take on copywriting. Until then, I'll just let Agnieszka and Deirdre do it for me. Which leads to my next point. The beauty of autonomy is, of course, the help that you get, the support. And that's probably the best part of autonomy is, adopting a new family of like-minded people with the same goals. It's great. It's just, I've made so many friends that I feel like are really dear friends, even though we're tragically geographically very far apart. So yeah, just feel like I'm just getting started and just being able to hone in on what I want to do. Few breakthrough moments. Well, going to Red Pill was a major breakthrough moment, because not only meeting everyone, but it was me starting to take real initiative into everything that I was learning, that I had been doing. Going to Red Pill was, it gave me a taste for these conferences. I want more. And yeah, so I'm going to start, getting myself out there, networking, and doing the sales role plays, the integration exercises, and the interviewing. Those integration exercises, particularly sales. Interviewing was easy for me, and I still have to improve. Don't get me wrong. I still have so much to improve. When I look back at my interviews, and I'm doing it now, I'm horrified at how much I say, but I don't care, whatever, failing our way forward. I really don't care. The point of my interviews is to get whoever I'm speaking to get their message across to the world. Doesn't matter how I come across. Worst case scenario, I can edit myself out and just put the words up on the screen, the way Paul Verge did in Hijacking Humanity. I thought that was a good little tactic that he did. The point of me interviewing is not about me at all. It's about everybody has amazing and very interesting message. People are interesting to me. And autonomy has given me that platform and the confidence to start talking to people and interviewing them to connect their message to the world, to as many people as possible. And that's what I'm trying to do now, and talking to who I want to, and getting, some people just have got a message that needs to get out there. And I think, I've said this before, James Evan Pilato, he's always saying, he's always quoting the guy from, was it the Dead Kennedys? Don't hate the media, become the media. And I've heard that 100 times, and it's something in the back of my mind. And I thought, yeah, if we all become voices for what's going on out there, it might put a dent in, as Joseph Ford would say, the dark vortexes that are out there right now. And because I do think what's happening in autonomy, what we're doing is probably one of the most important things that's happening probably in the world. and it's a very quiet, subtle thing going on right now. But we are on the cusp. We're using critical thinking, and we're learning to use logic, critical thinking, using the trivium, these methodologies to figure our problems out and move forward, and more importantly, learn what's going on. Figuring, being able to use critical thinking to know when we're being lied to. And it's hard. It's hard for me. I'm not very good at it. I'm getting better, but I have so much to learn. And another breakthrough moment was, I feel like getting James Corbett, on camera. I think that was a big moment. I would not have done it had it not been for autonomy. You were giving, it was part of one of your lectures. You spent a whole section on how to get through to an influencer. You get on their list, then you make contact, et cetera, et cetera. And I thought, something else you said, you can't, if you don't try, you're 100% going to fail. So, I sent him an email and I got an interview with him. And I think that was a breakthrough moment for me because, as most people here know, he's one of the most credible researchers out there. And of course, my interview with you, Richard, as well, that was a huge breakthrough moment. You let me talk to you that day because it just occurred to me one day, we were doing the arrangements online, whether it was Calendly or Schedule Once, everyone had their link there. And I thought, hold on, is Richard available? And I saw your slot there. I said, all right, I'll book him. Not many people are given the chance to just book Richard Grove whenever they want. So I took it, got my interview with you. And when I approached Corbett, I said, hey, I'm with Richard Grove, man. I'm sorry, I had to use your name. And I don't know if that's what, made him want to do an interview with me. But after talking to Corbett, that gave me the confidence to pretty much ask anybody for an interview. And I'm still going at it. I just want to talk to these people who've got very important things to say to the world. And that's what I'm trying to do. And anyway, none of that would have been possible without autonomy. Sorry, a bit of a rant there, but that's the end of it.
No, it's a good rant because you don't talk much in your interviews. You usually just ask a question and then you're a good listener. So you learned how to do the interview exercise. You then went and asked James Corbett for an interview. You got the interview. You didn't mess up the tech, so you had a recording of it. And that launched your personal media platform, which you now call the Truth Conduit. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Plug your site, plug your YouTube, student YouTube.
Truthconduit.com. So you guys go to it. There's a contact page, sign up. At this point, I don't have any, I'm not offering I'm still working on the marketing funnel, email, all that. Thanks to Agnieszka, she introduced me to, okay, I'm going to get it right. I always say Chimp Monkey, MailChimp.
MailChimp,
and, yeah. And I always keep calling it Chimp Monkey. But, I like it. It's nice. People sign up and MailChimp. MailChimp is great because when I get a new episode out, I like to email everyone. You get an email. Okay, a new episode out. And I'm, like I said, I feel like I'm just getting the hang of all this. It's a constant learning process from video editing to improving my tech skills and my actual interviewing skills. What does it do? When I interview someone, it's my own catharsis in a lot of ways. There's a certain topic to talk about. There's a certain person. This person has amazing things to teach. So I have to learn all of that first. So this is me learning. This is my learning process. Learn about them, learn what they have to say, and then figure out the best way to get their message across to whoever wants to listen to it. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And it's it's been like I said, I just feel like I'm getting started, and I'm really happy with the way things are going. I'm feeling much more optimistic, even though I do have dark moments. Sorry, sometimes I do get a bit down, and I get grumpy on Discord sometimes, and everybody brings me back up. But I'm feeling much more optimistic than I was feeling before autonomy started last year. Definitely.
Well, and the other aspect of that is when you're dealing with reality, there's a lot of downers going on out there. So if you don't have, a group of people that are friendly and helping you to regain your buoyancy, so you don't get overwhelmed by the waves at sea, right? That's very useful. It makes it much more elastic, and you don't have to, suffer time in the doldrums when you can just say, look, they're passing this legislation in my state. I'm really upset about it right now. And you can probably find some other people who aren't as emotionally touched by it, but still logically and reasonably understand why you're a little perturbed and how to walk you, and what you can do. And usually figuring out what you can do alleviates that frustration, because what they figured out at Yale at the Institute of Human Relations back in 1938 was the frustration aggression complex. And that if they can block your way from you getting what you want, people become frustrated and aggressive. And that works. If schooling produces that in our society, then that works, because then they can either drug you or incarcerate you. So they've got funding mechanisms, big funnels to catch people who are in those areas, right? So if you stray off the beaten path and start getting frustrated or aggressive, that's the whole reason you want to keep it in balance. You want to have a place where you can vent and relieve some pressure. And I've never seen you ornery on Discord, Chris. Everything I've seen from you is very pleasant and upbeat. But that's good that you're willing to admit that it's not 100% uptime with happiness. You can have happiness in the majority of your life. You're still going to get some frustrations. One of my other questions that came to mind, Chris, was how has going through autonomy helped or not helped your family? Has it made it more stressful because you got this workload of the course, or has it opened things up and made things, a little more balanced?
It definitely, during the course itself, while the lectures, especially the weeks during the integration exercises, because I was putting in a lot of hours, but it did affect everyone. But they knew, Marie knew she knew what I was doing. She could not have been more supportive. She was fantastic. But I know there were definitely moments where, I could have been doing something else, family-wise. But it was just a course for that amount of time. I mean, the most important thing is the library of knowledge that's being collected here. My kids are really picking it up as well. For example, the introduction of Robert Kiyosaki, I'd never heard of him before Autonomy, and now my son plays his game regularly. He's got cash flow, he's got the physical board game, and he's got it online, and he's going to know more about investing assets and liabilities than I will, for example. Not to mention all the literature, everything I'm learning in the back of my mind is ultimately for them. I'm hoping that they will eventually take interest and pick up. I tell them everything that's going on in autonomy is probably some of the most important lessons that hopefully you'll be wanting to learn in the future. And I think in the long run, it's definitely going to benefit all of them. Absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. The time did cut into what I would be doing otherwise. Yeah, but so what? It's a small period, it's a small moment. And, like anything, you make room for it. Time management skills, you know what I mean? I think Marie, my wife, some of you known her, you've talked to her a few times. She's been so supportive and just nothing but supportive. In fact, I would not have gone to Red Pill. When you first announced Red Pill, Hartford, Connecticut, it wasn't even on my radar to think of actually going. You know what I mean? I just thought, that'd be cool to go. But, there wasn't even a but. There wasn't even but it's a shame I can't go. It wasn't even that far on my radar. But, she said, well, why don't you go? And I thought, well, I guess I could. And, it just seemed a bit extreme at the time, because you started announcing it early days, and the flow of autonomy really was just getting started. And then, of course, it didn't take long to realize how important this would be to make the effort to get up there. And it was her encouragement. I wouldn't have done it without her. In fact, her encouragement And of course, she's picking it all up as well. And she's very, very supportive with that, and very patient. I don't know. I don't know if that answered your question. It did affect them. Hopefully in the longer run, more positively. You know, in the shorter run, yeah, there are sacrifices. Absolutely. It's not going to be always convenient if you want to put in the effort and the hours necessary to improve your skills in autonomy. Something's got to give.
Well done, Chris. Now, I hesitate to say this, but would you have been able to speak so fluidly 6 months ago when you started season 1?
I don't know. Not on camera, not on the microphone. No, definitely not. Keep in mind, you know, I teach
That's
English.
what I meant. I didn't. Obviously, you could speak in person. You do that all the time. But it's the technical aspect. You got a microphone, you got video, you got continuity of thought, and then you have to be able to set aside your self-consciousness and just be your authentic self. And you were able to get out of your own way on that faster than I've seen most people do it. And like, you're building up a track record now. You didn't just do it once. You're building up consistency. And that's opening new opportunities for you. So I just wanted somehow, for if you experienced like a lighter load and able, like, you can just do it. And like you said, how you don't care, like you're able to set some of those feelings aside to focus on what you want to do and overcome your fear. I think that's what I was trying to get at. Not that you couldn't speak. You know what I mean?
Very good. Yeah, it's helped a lot. I think all the talking, doing the integration exercise has really made jumps for me, because you're just talking and you get better at it. And I'm trying to improve, you know, it helped me become a better listener as well. Because it goes both ways. You have to become a better listener. I, you know, like most people here probably, except for Jordan, I went to public school, so I have a, short attention span. So sometimes, especially in the past, it was hard for me to listen to long monologues without mentally starting to float somewhere. And doing it so much in autonomy has definitely helped. Absolutely. I still want to improve my public speaking skills. I know they kind of go hand in hand, but they are a bit different. You know what I mean? It's still my intention to join a Toastmasters club, and because that's one thing I do not have experience with, is getting up physically in front of a lot of people, and it's on my list. You know, I'm not going to stop. You know, I'm not going to stop. All these skills that you have introduced to us in autonomy that we know we have to, if we want to move forward, we have to improve on. You know, you've got what was it, at the beginning of autonomy last year, you put the 19 skills that you learned while paying for college. I've got it up here on my wall. Yeah, they're here. I know about them, but I have not conquered them all. You know what I mean? I still have to. So public speaking is one. Copywriting I need to improve upon. So you just take one skill at a time, get to a certain level, and just, you know, we're never going to stop. I'm not going to stop. So, and autonomy's given me that confidence and that drive. You know, I'm just determined to become efficient at all of these skills that are listed, no matter how long it takes.
Outstanding. How do you feel now? Like you could
fine.
take a break. You could take a break for the rest of the night now. Woo.
Yeah, I've got a friend in Jesus Christ. I've got a friend in Jesus Christ, and Krishna and Buddha and my bartender.